How you doing, people of YouTube? Today's video is going to be a very depressing one because it's a video in memorial for my dog Geronimo, she was my baby, man. And so I got Geronimo at about 5 weeks old. She literally fit in the palms of my hands, man. So she was albino pit bulls. She was a blue nose. They usually live up to 8 years. Geronimo was 14 years old, give or take a few months, So I had her in my late teens all the way until yesterday, and so I slept with Geronimo, man. Like, she was a puppy. I didn't want to train her to sleep with me, but she was so small at 5 weeks. They're not supposed to be separated from their mothers that young, but she was. So I let her sleep with me, and I just grew attached, and I became used to it, and I slept with her for years. I'd go and just sleep on the couch with my dog rather than sleep in my bed, and we slept with each other all the way until I got married. I got married, and then I slept with my wife, and G had to learn how to sleep on her own, and she did, and then me and my wife, we split, and then I moved, and then I thought it was best that she continue to sleep on her own. But Geronimo was getting sick. She developed a heart murmur, and she also developed cancer that was spreading. So I didn't spade Geronimo. I refused to cut anything off of her unless it was absolutely necessary. So at about 9 years old, she caught some sickness where, I forgot what it's called, but they have 24 hours to live. It's a horrific infection in either her ovaries or just in her reproductive area. There's a horrible infection that goes through the body, and they have 24 hours to live. So I had to do an emergency spade on her, and she survived that. I got kicked out of two apartment places because of her, So at the time, I was living with my dad, and I brought the dog, and we weren't allowed to have dogs at those apartments, so they ended up kicking us out, and then they ended up kicking us out of another place. And after the second time, it was so difficult to find another place to live, that would take the dog, and it became I was maybe 19 at the time, 20, I think, somewhere there. But I remember my dad flipped out on me and was like, you gotta get rid of the dog, dude. The dog is gonna go. We're not finding a place, and so you need to make. My dad gave me the ultimatum of either, get rid of the dog or kick fucking rocks, And I remember that conversation took place when we were driving, without a proper place to stay. And I told my dad, just pull over, because if you're gonna give me that ultimatum, knowing I took responsibility for this dog, and I mean to keep that responsibility, so just pull over. It's not that I'm choosing the dog over you, but I'm choosing the dog, as the responsibility. So I stepped out, and then I had my own car, so I somehow got back to my car. I was in a different city, and then I was homeless with my dog. I slept in the car for fucking like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I was ashamed to tell my friends, and my friends found out, and they flipped out that I did that, and they flipped out that I didn't tell them anything, and a few of my friends called me, just come sleep over at my house with the dog and stuff, and that's what I did. I went, slept at one of my friends' house with the dog for like, maybe like 2 weeks, and then, I spoke to my dad and all that, and then we found the place, and everything was cool. And then throughout the years, my dad became super attached to this dog, just like I was super attached to this dog. In some ways, even more so than me, And my dad got old, so it became like at some point I made the decision that I'm gonna take care of my dad. So it went from, me living under my dad's roof to me living with my dad, us living together. And my dad has had triple bypass, he's had a couple heart attacks, he's had close calls, man. So I took the responsibility of, taking care of the man that took care of me. And he's not the easiest person in the world to get along with, but throughout the years, I think the respect developed, like I've told my like younger homies, for example, like when it comes to your parents, if you're a guy and it comes to your dad, if you're a girl and it comes to your mom, right? Like your manhood or you becoming a woman, right? Like you're gonna realize it before they realize it, that you became a man or a woman, and they're not gonna give you that respect. You have to take it, you have to earn it, and you have to take it. So it took some time, but I took mine, and things got better after that, So that gives you some insight about like how attached I was to this dog, that I refused to, like I was willing to, like, fuck that, I'm taking the dog and being homeless, I don't give a fuck, like I'll do what I have to, right? And I guess once I started living with my dad, right, I decided to make it where my dad's the one that feeds the dog most of the time, that my dad's the one that walks the dog. And I never told him why, but he always thought it was some selfishness to it. But what he didn't realize is that, like, he was coming off of major surgery, and he was that surgery, he had an accident, and that surgery kind of retired him, and he was completely physically demolished, and knowing my dad, he's like old school, man. He's not the type of person that's gonna fucking exercise and do this and do that, you just got tough shit out. It is what it is. And so I thought him taking care of the dog, him walking the dog, would be much better for him, and it actually helped my dad get on his feet, so much sooner. And that responsibility of just maintaining the dog a little bit, like it was a good thing for my dad, you know, emotionally and physically. Way later on, when I got married with my wife, I left the responsibility of feeding the dog to my wife. And it's like, why the fuck are you leaving it on me? Why do I have to feed your dog? Right? And I was like, it's not about the feeding. You know, like, because Geronimo eats what we eat. You know, if I'm eating something, that's what she's eating. If my dad's eating something, that's what she's eating. If my wife, right? It's just like, why do I have to feed the dog? I was like, you have to understand that, like, but at that point, it's like, okay, I've lived with this dog for like 10 years, okay? You're coming into this house, which is technically her house before it was yours. Leaving the food on you is gonna create her to be dependent on you for food. And the way to someone's heart is through the stomach. You feeding her is gonna create such a strong bond really quickly. That's why you're gonna be the one to feed her. And we'd be at the dinner table, and if there's food to be given, I'd be like, you know, wife, you give the food to her, and she give it, and it worked exactly how I said it worked, you know. So, man, Geronimo was just a badass dog, dude. Just a badass, happy little dog, man. She's literally like the friendliest dog you'd ever meet, man. Just fucking lick you to death. Tail wagging everything, man. Extremely human friendly and extremely animal aggressive. She didn't like any other animals, man. She like, if it comes in the yard or some shit, I'm gonna kill it. That was her mentality. If it's moving and it's not human, it should be dead. That's how she thought. Except one time. This is before I had to fix her, you know, and I was walking her and I stopped and I was on my phone and I'm hearing weird noises and I see Geronimo's sniffing at a fucking coyote and the coyote is sniffing at her, you know. She was into coyotes, I guess. That was the only animal she wasn't aggressive with. She was about to let that fucking coyote manhandle her, you know. And I was like, you crazy fucking girl, we're going inside, man. You coyote kick rocks, you know. And so it's funny that like, I guess she was into the bad boys and shit. You know. So yeah, just such a pleasant dog, man. And I called my ex-wife and I asked her, look, this is the decision I've made. This is the decision I've made, and because her cancer spread so fast. Not at first. At first she was cool. She had it for like a year. She was cool, no signs. Like, yeah, she had cancer, but she didn't physically show pain or discomfort, or she was just a fucking trooper of a dog, man. You know, just took all kinds of pain amazingly. But the last month she lost tremendous amount of weight. Like, her health went out the window within a month. Completely lost weight where her ribs are showing, her stomach. She looked like one of those dog commercials, you know, when dogs are abused and you find them all malnourished and shit, you know. And that's what she looked like. And, you know, she had that horrific heart murmur, which her heart wouldn't close, like not even 50%. So it was never enough oxygen getting to the places that it needed to go, and that was getting worse and worse, and that's what really did her in, you know. And I decided I was gonna sleep with Geronimo just to monitor her overnight, because I knew her time was coming, and I had to make the decision of if I'm gonna let her be or if I'm gonna put her down, you know. And I slept with her, and she was literally breathing at the same rate her heart was beating. She was just the whole night, non-stop, like identical to her heartbeat. That's how she was breathing, and I didn't think she was gonna make it through that night. Like completely asthmatic, and it reminded me of when I was shot and my lungs collapsed, and I was breathing like that, and how horrific that felt. And I decided, you know, it was the more humane thing to do, to put her down. And the only reason I really did it is because I took, like, if I got old and I was in a fucked up situation, I'd want a loved one to put me down, man. I'd rather go out a little early, you know, getting put down than fucking suffering to the end. There's no dignity at the end any fucking way. So at least you can spare some dignity and some pain. So I called my ex-wife and I asked her if she could come with me to put her down, of which she agreed to it, just knowing how attached I was to Geronimo, you know, and which was awesome of her to do, you know. It was extremely awesome of my ex-wife to come with me, man. That was too horrible and too horrific. It was gonna be too painful, and it was, man. And so, you know, that night I gave her a really nice shower. I told my dad it's time. My dad fucking made her a whole bunch of different meats and foods and delicious shit. And she finally ate some of it. And it's a horrible car accident. And she finally ate some food, and, you know, so I showered her, fed her, slept with her, played with her as much as she could play. And I met up with my ex-wife, and we took her to the vet, and we put her down, which was so painful for me to do. You know, that was my baby, man. My vet was awesome, because I told the vet I'm gonna take her. I'm taking her with me. I'm gonna bury her, you know. And my vet was dope enough of a person, and I guess she knew me enough where she knew I wasn't gonna do anything foolish or stupid or retarded. Like, I was gonna treat that dog with the utmost respect she deserved, and give her just a burial, you know. I wasn't gonna do anything, because it's illegal for them to, you know, to give you the dog. You're not allowed to. But anyway, she was dope enough, and took that risk. Therefore, I'm not gonna say obviously who she is or what vet or what, but they just thank you for that. And yeah, and then I wrapped her. I wrapped her body in one of her towels, her beach towels, and put her in the back seat. And I told my ex-wife, like, I need to drink. I can't. I need to drink. So we went to the bar. We went to the bar and just had a few drinks, and you know, we went back to my ex-wife's car, parted ways, and I went and I buried, I gave Geronimo a very proper burial that, like, I gave her the burial I would want for myself. So, nonetheless, it hurts, man. It's sad and it's fucked up. That was my friend. That was my baby, and the world's gonna be a lot colder and a lot more depressing without my dog. That was just. She just had that shine, man. She had that like that positive shine. If you wanna, I don't know. Some people call it a aura. Some people would. She just had that fucking shine, man. And it's gonna be fucked up without her. But rest in peace, Geronimo, man. Just the dopest dog ever, dude. Yeah. I guess that's that. And thank you for the people along the way that helped out with G and the vet, my ex-wife, my dad, like my mom, like whoever, and anyone who helped out. It was nice to G. It's appreciated, and yeah, this is in memory of G. You guys have a nice day.